Hi everyone, this is Arlie from My Hero, a focus tool that blocks distractions and helps you focus. Welcome to Focus Support, where I answer real questions from the internet about productivity. Let's get started. Okay, so for the first question, the poster asks, I can start habits, but I cannot keep them once I miss a day. How do you stop the all or nothing spiral? Every time I try to get disciplined, the same thing happens. I start strong, build momentum for a week or two, and then I miss a day because life happens. Then I tell myself I'll start again next week, and the same thing happens. Eventually, I'm back to doing nothing, and I feel like I failed. How do you set goals so one missed day does not break the whole system? Okay, first, I think it's important to say that sometimes life does happen. Like, it'll get in the way of your goals. Not every single day will be perfect, and that's okay. Even on those days, I think it's very important to maintain a positive attitude. So, one practical tip I have for this is something I like to call the 5-minute rule. So, if you're someone who really values streaks and momentums, and I think this rule can be very helpful for you. So, with this rule, it's pretty simple. You just do 5 minutes as the minimum every single day. So if your goals are around going to the gym every single day, maybe some days you're busy, you have work, something gets in the way, you can't go to the gym, you can still do 5 minutes, and doing that 5 minutes will make you feel good, and at least it shows that you still progress towards the goal. The second tip for this, I think I would say, is plan the week and not the day. So, like I mentioned before, not every single day will be perfect, but if you think about your whole week, even if you miss some days, you can still make up for it in other days of the week, maybe days where you're less busy. Okay, let's move on to the next question. So, the next poster asks, how do I stop bedtime procrastination? My discipline is great until about 9 or 10 p.m. I can work, do errands, even exercise. Then the nighttime hits, and I turn into a different person. I tell myself I'll go to bed at a reasonable time. Instead, I sit on my phone or laptop for hours, just scrolling random videos, reading nonsense. I'm tired the whole time, but I keep going. Then I wake up groggy and promise I'll fix it tonight, but the same thing happens. For people who broke this habit, what actually worked in real life? Okay, so this is a problem that I think many people have experienced. This is something that I've struggled with in the past. You're very determined to wake up at 5 in the morning, but then nighttime comes around. Before you know it, it's already like 1 a.m. and then the next morning you're super tired. So here are a couple of tips that I think can help with this. So first, no electronics in the bedroom. Try not to have your phone, your laptop, anything with you in the bedroom. And that'll just make it so much easier to sleep because you won't have all these distractions tempting you and having you stay awake. Now, some people might say, I need my phone as an alarm clock, but that's something that you can completely replace. So, for example, instead of using a phone, you can use a alarm clock. And this here is a sunlight alarm clock. It's pretty interesting. I've gotten a while back, and it's like lights up in the morning, and that'll help you, stay awake. So you don't need to have your phone in the bedroom, right? And removing it will definitely make it a little bit easier to fall asleep. Second is to have a wind down routine. So 30 minutes before your scheduled bedtime, start thinking about activities, maybe stretching, reading, things that you would like to do that would help you start feeling rested and get ready for bed. And I think that will not only make it easier for you to fall asleep, but also will help you be more consistent because now you have a routine right before you sleep that you should be doing every day. Okay, so next question. We have a student who posted, how do I study properly? I can't even study a simple topic because I spend most of it on my phone or playing games. While I could just delete the app or use a blocker, somehow I'll find a way to bypass it. I really want to work harder, but I simply can't do anything because of this. And to top it off, procrastination. I have exams in less than 3 weeks, but I can't even show a single bit of urgency. Is there any advice for me to actually start being productive? Okay, so this question I think really is something I can really relate to because as a student, I've also struggled with being productive and procrastination. I think a lot of students struggle, with these issues. So let's come up with a plan to tackle this. I had to bring out the whiteboard for this question. Okay, so I would say there's 3 simple things that you can start doing to be more productive. First is your environment. You want to make sure that when you're studying, you're in a distraction-free environment. That means hopefully it's quiet, hopefully your phone is in another room. It's a place where when you go there, you know that it's meant just for studying. Second is to have a clear goal. So a lot of times, the reason for procrastination is that you might not have a clear idea of what to work on, but once you have defined that, it becomes so much easier to get started because you know exactly what you should be doing. So spend some time to think about, okay, what exactly do you need to work on or study for that day or for that study session. The third step, it's kind of 2 different parts, is now that you have your clear goal, is to set time to actually work on that and take the action. So say you defined it as you need to write your essay and you want to do 5 pages today. Then you set time and you do the action. You could use something like a Pomodoro technique. So for me, I use a hero to do focus sessions and I time myself like maybe an hour, some days like longer. And I set that time, and during that time, I'm only working on the goal that I've set. So with those 3 steps, hopefully that helps you become a little bit more productive. All right. Let's move on to the next question as I put this whiteboard away. Okay, so we have another student. This student asks, how do I stay productive after getting home from high school? I run a YouTube channel while being a sophomore in high school. I try to upload videos twice a week, and each week requires a lot of work outside of school. My problem is that during school days, I get home and it feels like the life has been drained out of me. I wake up early, exercise, eat, and then go to school. But when I get home, I can only do 2 to 3 hours of work before completely burning out. Does anyone have any advice? Okay, so first I would say to this student, good on you. It seems like you're already taking on a lot, but make sure that you have balance as well, since it's really important to not burn out. And this is something that I can also relate with because I work a full-time job, I work on many side projects, I have a lot of different hobbies like cycling, running, swimming, so I can definitely relate to the feeling of being overwhelmed and being exhausted sometimes. So here's some tips that hopefully help with this. First, I would say is to experiment with your schedule. For someone who does a lot of different things, I'd say it's really important to figure out different ways that you could schedule your day, because right now, for example, this student is working out first thing in the morning. For me, when I exercised first thing in the morning before, I realized that actually wasn't the best place for me to exercise. It actually wasn't the best time for me because after I exercised, I would feel kind of tired the rest of the day. So for me, I moved exercise to the later part of my schedule, and that seemed to work out for me. And it was a small change, but it really helped me realize that it made my day more efficient. So I would say just experiment with your schedule. Try, scheduling different things at different times and seeing what works. The second thing I would say is to try task batching. So this is really important for someone who's working on a lot of different things, because if you work on a YouTube video for 10 minutes and you're studying the next 10 minutes, that context switching has a lot of cost. So if you can try to work on YouTube, maybe say, for example, in the morning for an hour, and then your study sessions and homework is in the afternoon for 2 hours. When you schedule and task batch that way, it's probably a lot more effective. Hope that helps. Okay, moving on to the next and final question. So we have someone asking, I'm addicted to my phone and I feel like I'm wasting my life away. How can I break this cycle? I'm on school holidays right now, but the time has gone so quickly because I've been doing the same thing every day, scrolling on my phone. It's gotten to a point where I'm sleeping extremely late every night of pure boredom, knowing that I don't have anywhere to be the next day. What should I start to cure my boredom and stay away from the phone more? Okay, so I think there's a couple of different techniques that you can try to hopefully help with your phone and screen time issues. So one, very simple, is to delete the apps that are on your phone that are causing you the most distraction and only use them maybe in your computer, for example. And that helps because a lot of times with the phone, the apps are just a lot more engaging and distracting. And if you say that you only use it on your computer, that can help reduce screen time. So that's a very simple technique that you can try. Second thing, which is a little bit more extreme, is you can even use a physical lockbox. So that means you literally put your phone in a lockbox with a timer and it's locked away. You can get one on Amazon for pretty cheap, and they're very effective because with that and with your phone in the lockbox, there's like no way around that. And if that's too extreme, you could try something in the middle, like a Hero. A Hero has blockers on your phone, and you can set time limits for certain apps, and that's just another technique that you could use to reduce screen time. And I would say the second part is, now that you've known and you've worked on blocking the distractions, the second part is like figuring out what to actually work on. So for your schoolwork, I definitely start with setting goals and figuring out tasks for those goals. So figuring out like what you should be working on and outlining those things. And I think that will be the first step to becoming more focused. Hope that helps. And that's all for today. Thank you everyone for watching. Hopefully some of these advice and tips can also be helpful to you. And yeah, if you found this content helpful, please subscribe. If you're looking for a productivity tool, please check out a Hero. And thank you very much. See you in the next session.